Hi, and welcome to Chapel Hill Maker. I'm Rachel, and I love knitting and making here in very sunny Chapel Hill, North Carolina. I'm filming a little bit later than I usually do, so the light is not exactly where I love it, but that's just been the week that I've had. So I'm gonna run with it because I have so much I wanna talk to you about, and I'm gonna just jump right in. So thank you so much for joining me today. If you're new here, welcome. And if you've been here for the ride, I'm so glad that you're back. And today I have one finished object and a lot of new cast-ons and works in progress. So we're gonna get through it all. I'm also gonna give a quick recap of Carolina Fiberfest and share what I purchased there. So yeah, so I'm gonna just jump right in. I am wearing today my finished object, and it is the Prospect Tee by Tori Yu. And this, I was fortunate enough to test knit this for Tori, and it is out today, first day of spring. So it is, like all of Tori's patterns, super well thought out, just these little details, like making sure this purl row goes all the way around into the back and on the cuff and hem. And I think it's a European construction where you start with the trapezoid, you pick up for the shoulders, you work flat until you're ready to join for the sleeves. And then you're off to the races in the round, and it's just a quick little pickup for the cuff and the collar. And yeah, I love it. I used Wool Dreamer's Saona from this that I purchased from Aimee, Sher. And I loved working with the yarn. When I first started wearing this, it felt a little bit itchy, but now that I've worn it a few times, that itch factor definitely seems to have decreased. So, which makes me happy because I have another project that I'm working on with it. But yeah, so this pattern is available today. It's the Prospect Tee by Tori Yu. And today, March 20th, depending on when you watch this. But I love the fit. I ended up adding a little bit more length before separating for the sleeves. I wanted some more room here. And I ended up, I don't know if I can, there you go. I ended up going a little bit longer before I started my hem as well. And so I just like to be able to have the option to tuck it in. And it's, I think, gonna be a really great summer piece, or spring piece, probably not summer here. But it is, the Saona is 50% cotton and 50% wool. And it has some tooth to it, so it's kind of fun to work with. You feel like you're working with a wool yarn. So now I'm going to just jump right into the WIPs because I have been in a million directions this week. I wish you could see the bags at my feet because they're everywhere. I think I talked about last week how, like, when I finish a project, I usually have a whole plan in place. And this time I had loose ideas of what I wanted to cast on, but I couldn't quite pin that down. So I did a bunch of swatching. You may hear Mary Poppins jingling in the background. So I did a bunch of swatching and a bunch of thinking and seeing what works. And the problem is now I love all of them. So, you know, in the spirit of March Madness, or if you're a Bridgerton fan, you know, figuring out who the diamond of the season is, I'm just gonna keep sort of working round robin style on these and see which one kind of bubbles to the top as my most attended to work in progress. And hopefully by doing that, I'll make some good progress on all of them. But three of them, let's see, one, two, I think three of them are new, and two of them are WIPs that had been waiting for me. So I'm excited to give them some attention as well. So the first one is the Spot Sweater by Vetzel. And I believe I'm making the size 2. And the reason that I say that is I swatched for it. Let's share my swatch here. And I'll get more detailed on these as I get further on the projects. I swatched for it and got pretty close to gauge with this top triangle here that you can see. This was a size 7 needle. This was a size 6 needle flat. And then this one up here is a size 6 needle that rather than purling, I did reverse knitting. And so I don't know if you can see the difference in the gauge there, but in person, it's pretty noticeable. It brought me down about a stitch per 4 inches. So I think the gauge is 22 stitches for 4 inches, and I am right at like 21 and a little. So the good thing is that size 1 and 2 have the same cast-on numbers, and then I can defer my decision on which size I'm gonna make. It calls for a good amount of positive ease, so I think either way I can't go wrong, but I wanna make sure it's a nice, cozy, roomy cardigan, so I'll decide once it's time to separate. But this is what I have so far. Oh, there's Sawyer telling us he's here. And so you cast on these 5 extra stitches for the steek, and this time it is in the pattern. I am not inventing anything. And you do this beautiful all over little pyramid pattern, and I love the way it looks at the raglan line. Like, how cool is that with all of the different triangles converging? And so right now I'm at the point where I'm just happily going along doing the raglan increases. I am using Isager Jensen yarn, and that is 100% pure new wool from Denmark. And it has definitely some tooth to it, but it's gonna be an outerwear, and when you soak it, I think it gets a little bit softer each time. And then I'm holding the white color with mohair, and I love the Isager silk mohair. I'm not usually a huge like mohair fanatic. I don't pair it with a lot of things, but when I do, this is the one that I reach for. I really love it. It's soft. It doesn't actually add, other than this like pretty halo, which thanks to the sun here you can see, it doesn't really add a ton of extra softness. Maybe it does, but I wouldn't call this piece like buttery. You know, it definitely has some oomph to it, but I think it'll be a great jacket for next winter, you know, for the fall to wear over things. But I'm thoroughly loving this colorwork pattern. I bought the yarn for this well over a year ago at our local yarn shop, Hillsborough Yarn. And in hindsight, do I wish I had made the green the main color and the white the contrast? Maybe, but as it's working up, I'm really enjoying how it looks, so I'm not gonna rethink it. And yeah, so far I'm loving it. I'm knitting that as a knit along with my friend Jenny. She's Living with Wool on Instagram, and it's always fun to knit with someone that you can compare notes on. And if you do choose to make this, Anne talks in the pattern about how the first 12 rows you really have to pay attention. That's when you're knitting flat. And she was not lying. You definitely have to pay attention for the first 12 rows. But once you're there, you can sort of see the pattern developing, and you barely have to look at it other than to kind of take notes and count. So that's WIP number 1. WIP number 2, I have talked about a good bit on here as something I want to do, but I hadn't started it yet. And that is the Froya sweater. And it's an all over cabled, oversized sort of Rory Gilmore sweater by Ingrid Dyd. And it has these, I'll put a picture here, but it has these really nice wide sleeves and all over cables. And so this is where I am with this girl. And hopefully you can see it. I can't see anything with the light the way it is, but I also am enjoying this. This is with Stone Cellar Dye Works. And this is their, let's see, the name of the base is 40% superfine alpaca. It's their DK, 40% merino, and 20% silk. And this is it's a single, and it has some really nice halo to it. And I'm holding it double with this guy right here. That's Brooklyn Tweed Lodge in the natural color, and I had bought that before they closed. But I'm enjoying the way this is looking. I'm not getting as far as fast as I would like on this because it does, it hurts my hands a little bit with all the cabling, and so I'm trying to not push it too far, especially because I won't be wearing this for quite some time. So I'm just doing a couple rows a night and enjoying watching it. Right now I'm on the back and increasing, and then I will pick up for the shoulders and eventually get to the round. I am a little bit under gauge, but seeing as this, I'm knitting the size 1 on this, and this sweater has, calls for a lot of ease, and it has, I wanna say, I don't want to misspeak, but I'll put it on the screen, but it's a lot more than I normally include in projects that I do. So if my gauge is a little bit tight on this, then I'm not too worried about it. And this pattern unfortunately only comes in 3 sizes. I guess it's hard probably to grade with all of the cables. And so I'm gonna continue with size 1 because going up to size 2 would give me way too much ease regardless. So if I lose an inch or 2, I think I will be fine. Okay, that's new cast-on number 2. The next one, let me see if I can find, is the, I've swatched for it, and literally all I did was the cast-on and the setup rows, which is no small feat, but I'm doing the Hey Sailor top by Andrea Mowry, and it is a slipped stitch mosaic pattern. Let's see if I can get this to show up here. There you go. It's pretty subtle in the swatch, but I think that when it shows up on a larger canvas, it will really look pretty. And it's a slip stitch mosaic with a micro stripe, and this is fingering weight, so the body of it is on size 3 needles. And I am using the Comfort Silk Linen that I purchased from Aimee Sher. It's her new yarn, and I love it. It's really, really soft and luxurious, and it is, this is the color Forget Me Not, and it is 50% merino, 25% linen, and 25% silk. And then the other yarn that I'm using is already caked up over here. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, here it is. This is Poppy from Camellia Fiber Company. The base is called Flax Fingering, CFC Flax Fingering. And it's 50% alpaca, 25% linen, 25% silk. So very similar to Aimee's yarn, just swap out the wool for alpaca. And it too is delicious. And so when you see these guys together, hopefully the light shows, really doesn't look like a lot of contrast in the light, but I'm hopeful that this will, just produce a really nice, elegant summer piece. It has, it's oversized, and I am knitting the 3rd size in this. And if you want to see my very exciting progress, let's see here. This is what I have so far. So I feel pretty proud of this though. The tubular cast on for 300 plus stitches is no joke. And so I got through that, and now I have a little while of straight up 1x1 ribbing on size 1 needles. And I love that because it's one of my only sort of mindless projects that I have going. Okay, so those are the new cast-ons. And I also cast on a pair of socks that I will be knitting at hockey games. They are hockey socks for hockey games, but I forgot to bring them inside. And so I'll put a picture up here. And I'm using a doodle chart by Jamie Lomax, Pacific Knit Co. I've never doodled before, and it was really fun to come up with how I wanted those to look. I kept it really simple with one chart, and I had to improvise a little for it to fit in my usual sock recipe, but they came out really cute. So you can see the picture here, and I'll show them as I make more progress. So the next one is one from the vault, and I shared this maybe on my very first episode and not since, because I hadn't worked on it. It started to get cool, and this required a little more brain space than I had and just felt like focusing. And this is the Checkerplate Tee by Lily Kate Makes. And this is the Checkerplate Tee by Lily Kate Makes. And and it's an all over beautiful textured pattern. And all this is are yarn overs and knit two together, or SSK. And she has this in a colorwork project sweater as well. And then this is her summer version that's done in texture. And I'm so excited for this to materialize. I really am, now that I've had the energy to focus on it and pick it back up. And I did not take good notes when I put it down, and I was pretty proud that I was able to find where I was in the charts. And so right now I'm just increasing the raglan, and let's see if I can show you how that looks on the shoulder. It's really pretty. So I'm just increasing for the raglan shaping, and then again divide for sleeves, and then hopefully it'll be a lot clearer once I am just below the sleeves and working in the round. Okay, let's think. What else do I have? I have the Miel sweater, which also was mentioned early on in my podcast and then not again, because I was planning on making this for Christmas, and then once I realized it wasn't gonna happen in time for Christmas, I sort of lost steam on it. But this is truly my only kind of mindless make where it's just stockinette stitch. And this is a top-down, also raglan, which that seems to be a theme here. Top-down raglan with these really pretty wide rib on the raglan increases. And now I'm just on Body Island. I have a few more inches to go on that, and then I'll do the sleeves. And the sleeves is really what attracted me to the pattern. It has these beautiful little buttons, pearl buttons at the sleeves and at the cuffs, and it looks really elegant. And this is by Claudia Q from Unit Toronto, and she has amazing patterns. So if you haven't found her before, definitely go check out her patterns. I love them. And so I'm excited to have this. I'm knitting this in Zero from the Fiber Co. in the color Angelic. And this is one strand of Suri alpaca, and it's pretty thick, so I'm holding it single. I think the pattern originally calls for like a mohair and a fingering weight, and this definitely gives it a little different look because it has a bit of a slubbiness to it, but I love the fabric that I'm getting, and I think by next winter it'll be really cozy, so it might be next Christmas's sweater. I don't think I said that Checkerplate tee is also in Saona from Wool Dreamers, and it is in the color Ozetta. So sorry for being all over the place here. But yeah, so those are my 5 works in progress, which is 6 if you count the socks. A lot for me. I don't normally do a lot of projects at once. I usually have 1 or 2. I try to have like a thinker and a movie knit together and then power through, but I could not sort of simmer this down. I had so many things I wanted to make, and I decided to kind of lean into that inspiration and see what came out of it. I also have another WIP. I have 2 other WIPs that are kind of bubbling in my mind. One is I reclaimed some Brooklyn tweed shelter from a sweater I had knit for my husband that just never quite fit right. And so I ripped that out, and I'm hoping to make the Finest Kind by Alicia Plummer for him for next winter. And you'll hear more about that as it comes. I'm doing that as a knit along with Hannah G from Hannah G Knits. The last sweater I made for him was the Zipper Sweater Man by Petite Knit, and it looks so good on him, and it worked up really quickly. So I think it's a matter of finding the right pattern. And this one that I had previously made for him just wasn't right for him. And so I'm excited to give him a sweater that he's gonna wear and hopefully love for years to come. Okay, the other one that is bubbling around in my mind is a summer stripe pipe sweater, because I feel like I am gonna need sort of or want a plain stockinette project, and I have yarn coming from Pearl Soho for that. I am a new affiliate for Pearl Soho yarn, and I'm excited to talk to you more about the projects that I'll make with their yarn. I've been knitting with their yarn for years and love everything I've made with it, and so it felt like a natural fit for me to be able to recommend it to you guys. There's nothing, you know, you can use the link in the bio or you don't have to, but definitely check their yarn out. Their colors are amazing, and their bases are great, and they often have really good sales, and so you can get luxury yarns at really affordable prices. And so the last thing I was gonna talk about, I'm gonna put my notes aside because the rest I don't need, we're just gonna chat, is Carolina Fiberfest was last weekend, and I wanted to say thank you to everyone who came up and said hello to me. It was really special to get to meet some of you guys that I've only talked to in the comments or on Instagram. And you are as lovely in person as you are here in the comments. And it just really filled me up at what a nice community we have here. And I loved getting to like walk around. I am, if you spoke to me, you know, I'm not like, I'm not the most like out there person, and so it meant so much that people came up to me and talked to me, and I got a few really nice hugs, and got to chat about knitting and making with people. I met Sher from Linden Hill Farms, who we've been communicating for a long time, and you should check her out. She has a podcast and an Instagram account, and she and her husband are opening a fiber mill in South Carolina, and they are building it from the ground up. And watching her adventures have been amazing. She's super brave, and just how cool is that? And so definitely go check Sher out. And I was glad to get to talk to her in person, and I didn't really get permission to share names or photos of other people, so I won't do that here, but you know who you are, and it meant so much. And so I had fun walking around there. I was there with my friend Kat, who is half of Knitworthy Yarn Co., and it was a nice day to stroll around. We walked in, I said, I am absolutely not going to buy any fiber today, and the very thing I said I wasn't going to buy was the very first thing that I bought, and it's actually not right here. I put it down with my spinning wheel, but it is this beautiful brown yak. And I'll put a picture of where it came from. This brown yak fiber, and I've never spun with yak before, and so I'm excited to try that. Knitting with Ev talks about how much she loves spinning yak, so I couldn't help myself. I just had to buy some, and it came from a yak named Yanni, and it was from, let me tell you the name of the farm. Honey Creek Farms in North Carolina, and they do mostly Icelandic wool. And I got to meet Yanni. I did not get to meet her brothers, who one of them is named Yak Ephron, and I love a pun, so that made me happy. And then the only other things that I bought were I bought this adorable North Carolina stitch marker, and I got that from Granite Mountain Fiber Co. And she had such good stitch markers. She also had beautiful yarn. I sort of had paralysis by analysis. Her colors were amazing. They were a little bit moody, and they had a similar vibe to Les Garçons that was, you know, sort of these deep, rich colors. And then I went to Duffy's Vintage Buttons, and I bought this to go with my Hey Sailor. And these are vintage pearl buttons with just like a little bit of engraving on them. I wish I had bought more. I forgot about my spot sweater when I was there. I was so caught up. And then I bought these that have no plan, but how cute are they? They have little swallows on them. And and I did get to chit chat with one of you guys in the button booth, and I could have spent the whole day there. I love buttons, and she just had the coolest buttons from everywhere, and it was amazing. And she has no website, and she has no Instagram, and she only vends at shows like this, and so I don't know if I'll ever see her again, but I hope I can get more buttons like that in time for me to finish my spot. And then the last purchase I made was from Button Jar Studio, and it was this gorgeous project bag. And I actually had seen one similar to this on a friend to knit with. She had one and I coveted it, and they sold out really quickly once Leslie shared it. And then this one actually is two-sided and has this beautiful wool felt on the back with this heart. This is already in use. So, and look at this gorgeous fabric on the inside. And on top of this being just a beautiful bag, and she had a lovely selection. Julie, who is the maker behind Button Jar Studio, was just as sweet as she could be. So I had a really nice time talking to her, and definitely go check her out as well. So that only brings me, I'm gonna take a sip of water. I haven't even taken a breath. That brings me to active news cycle avoidance. I have been watching Bridgerton, and I've really enjoyed this season. I think I have one episode left, so no spoilers in the comments, but I think it's been a great season, and I love the costumes and the music and the scenery. It's just such a wonderful escape. And what else have I been doing for active news cycle? Well, we're getting ready for the NCAA tournament, and we're excited about that here. Sadly, NC State is already out, but we're hoping UNC will do well tonight and at least have a good showing. And I expect that Duke will spend a good bit of time in there as well. And then I don't have a specific podcast recommendation for today per se, because the YouTube algorithm gods have been doing something that I think is really interesting. And it has been serving up like the first episodes of a bunch of the different podcasts that I've been watching for a long time. And it has been so great to sort of use this little time machine and go back and see Kevin and Ray when they were baby podcasters, and Knitting Posse and Fat Squirrel, and so many of these folks have been podcasting for a long time. And as a newer content creator, it's so nice to see like their arc and their journey, because everybody just seems so good at it right away. And they were good at it right away, but they've also gotten better. And so I can only hope that I can do the same thing. But I think, yeah, if just for fun, if you have podcasts that you love to watch, go back in their back catalog and see what they have to share. My last little bit of housekeeping is just to remind you that my giveaway is still open on my previous episode 13, my 2,000 subscriber giveaway, which is $50. It's a $50 gift certificate to Knitworthy Yarns. So if you go back and watch that episode, if you missed it, you can see how to enter there. And then the rest is just a huge hearty thank you. Thank you for liking and sharing and subscribing and commenting and engaging and being. Thank you for all the wonderful ings. And I look forward to catching up with you again soon. Bye.